Nah, the mic's working just
Yeah.
fine. We're good.
Yeah. I just gotta talk a little louder.
Because everybody was kung fu fighting. Alright.
We're fucking nerds,
right.
man.
Yeah, we're fucking ready.
Wow.
Hey, Willie, come here. Listen to this.
Turn it up.
Welcome, everybody, to 39 Nerds, number 47. My name's Nick Tesla.
I'm Brian McFadden.
I'm the man. You already know the name. Richard Colazo. What's good?
You've reached the official podcast of Open Minds Everywhere. Yeah, we didn't go over what the things were.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's been a couple weeks, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're
But
back.
Definitely the official mind. Or
We were,
official
you
mind
see, we
of
were
Open
missing. We were
Podcasts
abducted by
everywhere.
aliens last week. So.
Yes, we've got some missing time going on.
Rich was
here.
chased away by a ghost.
That doesn't feel
Nah,
like
man,
it
look,
doesn't
listen,
feel like we
don't-
missed 2 weeks.
that was
does
scary,
it?
man.
All right, yeah. All right, so we just got to delve right into these topics because they're so big. They delve into so many different areas, and we're going to try not to stray off into different, because you can go down so many different rabbit holes with both of these topics. Ghosts and UFOs are topics today. So we're going to just delve right into it. I want to start with ghosts. First, I'd like to initially just go straight off the bat with our ghost stories, and I think the most relevant,
I believe
most
in
recent
ghosts,
one.
period.
Okay, yeah, I believe.
I'll put that out there right now. I believe.
I don't
in
believe
ghosts.
in dead people
I
walking
didn't believe in
around
ghosts.
and interacting with us. But when you hear my ghost story, you might be like, well, how does he not believe that? But I do somewhat believe in some sort of spirit or energy or something that's going on that we can't see. You know what I'm saying? We see the visual spectrum that we're seeing. We're not seeing everything. And it's foolish to think that we are. You know what I'm saying? Until we have that ability. And what's going to happen when we do have the ability to see outside of our spectrum?
That'd be pretty awesome.
That's going to be crazy. And it's coming.
It's coming.
I don't
know.
But I want to hear the most relevant recent ghost story that kind of affected one of our co-hosts here, like, massively and majorly.
Yeah,
And that was one massive
man.
cloud, you vape cloud and motherfucker. Anyway, let's get into it, Rich. So what happened to you? Can you
Okay,
just
so-
start us off? Hold on. Before this, you were an atheist? Is that what
Yes,
you're telling me?
I was
I
an
guess I kinda
atheist.
knew
I
that.
did not believe in ghosts at all. I did not believe in afterlife, ghosts, aliens, none of it. I'm pretty much out of the group. I'm pretty much the how you guess you could say the skeptic. I'm the level-headed, minded person of the group. I mean, you know, I'm just keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Yeah.
I'm the level-headed.
Did you believe at all, or even in the possibility of some sort of intelligent design?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree.
Some sort of intelligent design, not God, but some sort of intelligent design.
To a degree,
even,
I mean, science
like, on a
proves that there's some
scientific level.
science proves that there's some form of intelligent design.
Okay.
But they don't really know. I guess they don't want to say intelligent design because they're afraid that they're going to get scrutinized and lose their job.
Okay,
You know?
but you could never like take that and make a leap to like paranormal
Yeah,
stuff.
no,
It's
you
actually
can't. No,
like
no,
viable and
no.
real. It's just people like hysteria or whatever. Like
Yeah.
there's explanations for it. People are just going through
to
something
me.
personal.
What happened was it was all the way I started to see it. Like as a kid, all kids we all see little things. We see maybe like a head popping in and out.
Mm-hmm.
We see certain things, you know, happening within the you know, the realm of, oh my God, what the hell was that?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that was just as a kid, you know? But as I grew up, the more I grew up and the more I realized, and the more I started studying, you know, physics, quantum physics, just really diving into the science of it, I really came to the conclusion that there was nothing beyond the physical. It was just all... You know, you die, you have a near-death experience because apparently it's proven that you have a near-death experience. It happens.
Yeah.
It's about 3 minutes after your brain stops functioning, your heart stops
A lot of
functioning.
people say it's just a DMT trip.
Yeah, you have
That's all it
this.
is.
Your electric brain signals, they go crazy.
Yeah.
And then
DMT is released into your brain.
Yeah,
It
so then
makes whatever your belief is, if you believe in God, if you believe in Allah, whatever you believe in, your brain literally
We'll see
programs the DMT to send you that trip right there. So as you're dying, you're experiencing that like, oh my God, it was real, and then all of a sudden, blink, you're just out of existence.
yeah, exactly.
You know
And,
what I'm
and to me, that's the way I thought about
Yeah.
the afterlife and dying. I thought maybe you
I don't
die.
think you blink out of existence. I personally
I
think
think-
you
I don't think
morph
you-
into your energy morphs into something.
I think
else.
you just, to me, it was
on
like,
another
it was
form.
kind of like, my thing is you have this experience and then you fade out, right?
Right.
So that was my initial thought about
Okay.
it. All right. It was a Monday, right? Was it a Monday, McFadden?
I think it was. It was a Monday or Tuesday.
It was a Monday. I think it was the 14th, so I think that was a Monday of this month. And I was driving to work. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so I'm driving to work. I'm on River Road. Apparently, a lot of people have died on River Road from accidents and stuff like that. It's
River Road's scary. You don't ever drive on the right-hand side and think that with those telephone poles right there.
Yeah, that you're gonna
you don't ever
yeah.
think that your tire could blow out. Next thing you know, you're in the telephone pole and you're dead.
Right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are they literally 6 inches or a foot away from the roadway?
It's a weird, dangerous road, man. And people drive like idiots.
Yeah.
But long story short, I was driving on the road, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning, man. And I got to this stop. It wasn't a red light. It wasn't a stop, but I got to this light, and it was about to turn yellow.
Where at?
It was right at the, right after the CVS. If you're ever in South Jersey, there's
okay,
there's a CVS, and then there's a light.
See, now you were in a historical part of a town.
So there's two lights that go past the CVS going towards Riverside. So if you're coming towards to our station, that's the way I'm going. So I'm driving up there, and I get to this. I'm almost about to get to this light, but to the left of me, I see this. I thought it was a guy about to cross the road. So I consciously just start slowing down a little bit. I was like, all right, hopefully this guy doesn't slow down, jump out in front of me or whatever. So I started to slow down just a little bit, but I still kept going.
Yeah.
And the closer I got, the weirder it got. Because the closer I got, the guy looked transparent. And I was I started to
it started messing with your head.
It started
immediately.
So I was like, what's going on right here?
Yeah.
So I kept driving, and it looked like I swear to God, it looked like this clear, transparent guy took 2 or 3 steps and walked right in front of my car. And as he walked in front of my car, he did like a turn to look at me to be like, oh I'm gonna get hit.
Yeah.
And I
Did you brace for impact at all?
Dude, my body,
brace for impact, you were about to hit this guy?
I froze up so quick. To me, it was more of shock. I was in total shock. I couldn't believe it. I was I couldn't believe what I was seeing with my eyes. Now, to describe what the guy looked like, he didn't have features, so I couldn't see his face. I didn't know what he looked like. He or she, I didn't know what he or she looked like. I could see. I didn't see full digits of fingers, but I seen hands, I seen feet, I seen knees, I seen shoulders, I seen neck.
Now, was it how early in the morning was it?
6 a.m. Yeah,
6 a.m. So it was still, the sun wasn't fully up yet.
Yeah, it wasn't full. It was it's getting there in the morning now.
There, but it's not it's not
dark.
Bright out like it is now.
Yeah, it's not.
It's still pretty dark.
Yeah.
Around 6:20.
It's about dusk, so
right?
it's kind of light out. But
okay,
he walked after he walked in front of me, I went through him. And I was, first off, the first thing that came to my mind was shock. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that I just seen somebody walk in front of me. And then that's when the tears started to roll in.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I started to feel these emotions. I just started to not bawl, but I started tearing up. And all I kept saying, and I was gripping the steering wheel real hard, I was like, what the fuck does this mean? What does this mean right now? What does this mean? What are you trying to tell me? What does this mean right now? I cannot believe this is going on. Why are you telling me this right now? Or if anything, what are you telling me? Why? And it changed me, man. Now I don't know what to believe. I mean, I'm still not saying that I'm a Christian or a newfound, religious guy, but I'm definitely saying that there has to be something there. There's something going on that we do not know about, and that science either doesn't want to explain. They know about it and don't want to explain it, or they really can't explain it.
Exactly. And that's actually what I have some stuff pulled up if you want to. If you're somewhat interested about the scientific theories behind what ghosts are.
It's crazy because it's
wait, are there actually scientific theories on
see, because
Yes.
the thing that I'm thinking is, I'm like, well, all right, well, one of my first initial thoughts is all right, if this is a ghost, then why is he able to, he or she, why am I able to drive through it, but at the same time is able to walk on the ground? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't you fall to the ground? Or why
did you at all? I don't want to say did you at all, but did you think maybe with that same thought, you know that all time doesn't exist. That all time is now.
Yeah, time is now.
Only
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
There's no past. There's no future. There's only now.
We as humans see linear time. Yeah.
Were you somehow connected or somehow able to see a different moment of now? Either a later or a future.
I don't know.
Now.
Honestly, I don't know. All I know is that I seen it would look like a teenager.
And you find, think about this, okay? If you're really interested, if now you're interested and you're willing to open up, because that's like, I'm not going to put you down in any kind of way, but that was one thing that I kind of inside thought about you before, is that you're skeptical from a scientific point of view, and you're one, and I appreciate that now more than ever. You know what I'm saying? But that can limit you, and that's like my thing is like I've always believed anything is possible. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's always a middle ground, but never hitch your wagon to anything is possible, or well, no, nothing that science can't explain is impossible. You know what I'm saying? But if you're interested in this kind of thing now, go up to Gettysburg. Just spend a weekend up in Gettysburg walking around, and especially when it starts to get dark or early in the morning, walk around and see what you see.
Honestly,
now that you're open to it, you may actually experience more.
I definitely wanted to take some trips and stuff like that up there, or different haunted areas to just see if I can capture.
Right here in Jersey, in the Pine Barrens, there's haunted.
I just wanted to see if I could capture an apparition.
Here's my question. It's kind of off topic. Well, it's not really off topic, but it definitely has nothing to do with the show or anything. But would you at all be interested in doing a ghost hunting show in the future?
Yeah,
very interesting.
Okay, cool.
Very interesting.
I'm interested in doing a ghost hunting show, but not from the sensationalist perspective.
Oh my God!
So many shows come. You come to find out that so many shows actually are forced by their networks because they're on TV. They're forced by their networks to create some sort of evidence to stay on the air. Yeah. And they're actually manufacturing evidence. And it's like I'd rather do a YouTube channel where I don't give a shit whether we're able to stay on the air or not, or get viewers or not. We're going to be the first actual ghost hunters who are treating shit completely scientific. You know what I'm saying? We're open to a lot of different things being possible and things that science can't explain being possible, but we're not going to just say, we're not going to use pseudoscience. Yeah. We're not going to make up scientific theories that explain everything that have no ground and make no sense. You know what I'm saying? If anything, we'll say, well, mankind has yet to be able to explain this because there's something going on here. You know what I'm saying? Instead of making something up and trying to say we know what's going on, and our Frank box.
All we have here is a full torso apparition.
Our electromagnetic vortex machine was allowed us to see an apparition. You know?
Oh, look at this purple shadow just walking by on dude.
I don't know, but
we need to invest in a PKE meter.
But all right, look, there's what do you call it? There's a lot of scientific theories about it. I think we're going to have to do a whole nother show on the scientific theory of ghosts, just because it's so deep. And I literally found, I'd have to say maybe about 20 to 25 different web pages that have pretty good insight into the scientific theory behind what ghosts could be. And I'm not going to get into them right now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Word. Here, I'll just read you the one. 10 compelling pieces of evidence that proves ghosts are real. Like, some of these are scientific and some are just like, how do you not explain
Is this from credible sources?
Some of them are and some of them are not. That's what it's hard to find. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find stuff that's really from good, credible sources.
Yeah,
I want to tell you about my ghost story if I can.
But,
it didn't really change me because up to that point I believed, but it's also like my UFO story, which I'll tell you in a little bit, which is kind of, that changed me, how your experience you just had, how that changed you. My UFO experience changed me because up to that point I kind of believed, but I was like, until I see it, I can't, like, people could just be making stuff up because people want to believe, you know what I'm saying? I want to believe. Come on, the X-Files or whatever. But my ghost story is basically this. My grandfather died in... No, this is my ghost story.
Oh, your ghost story?
Yeah, I have a ghost story. My grandfather died, and this is the closest thing... Other than my grandfather's house. My grandfather's house, there was a piano in his basement that sometimes would play itself, and I could hear it down in the basement playing itself when I was there. And there was nobody down in the basement. If you went down to the basement, he had like a two-part staircase, so you walked down this way and then turned around and walked down the second part staircase. If you came down to the first landing, the piano would always stop. And then if you like turned the corner and looked at the piano, nobody's there. and there was a ghost in their house, and it would mess. Like we heard stories from my grandma and grandpa that it would mess with them sometimes, but it was a friendly ghost. It wouldn't mess with them like it wasn't malevolent. It was benevolent, and would just play games sometimes to let you know that it was there. One time, my grandma woke up and it was sitting on the end of the bed, and like he was like smiling at her, but it wasn't like a scary.
No, this is
smile
from
or
your
anything.
grandma. Your grandma told you this story.
Yeah,
No,
that's all
story?
that's up. But this is my actual ghost story. My grandfather died at my mom's house when in like maybe 2004, 2005.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And it was nice to be able to be around him for his last days. They like put him on a morphine drip, and he ended up passing away. I'm pretty sure it was of cancer. And when he died, the moment he died, literally like the moment he took his last breaths, my cat I had, Gorby, which I'd just gotten like 6 months earlier, 3 months earlier. Something.
Hold on.
And my grandfather hated the cat.
How the hell do you name your cats? Seriously, you have Mimsy and Gorby and
Gorby Gorbachev.
What's your new kid?
Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorby.
Are you kidding me?
He's Gorby the third, man. Gorby the second passed away. So you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't name two Gorbys like, and they're both alive. But all right, look, right. As soon as my grandfather died, he hated Gorby, and he always used to say, "Get that cat out of here!" He always used to yell. Even when he was like a couple days away from dying, he would yell about the cat being around, right? And as soon as he died, he took his last breaths. The cat went nuts. The cat started darting around the house like as fast as it possibly could. And up to that point, that was a chill cat. That cat never had no problem. It always walk around like it was the man. It was like just always chill. As soon as my grandfather died, the cat started darting around the house for like 20 minutes and just wouldn't stop. And it was like in a zone or in like a trance. It was almost like my grandfather was chasing the damn cat around the house or something.
Really?
But about 2 weeks later, I was living at my mom's, and my aunt had moved in and took my bedroom, so I was sleeping on the couch. And my mom had come down and woken me up and was like, "Hey, Nick, do you want to talk to Pop-Up?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Do I want to talk to Pop-Up?" She's like, "Pop-Up's upstairs right now. Do you want to say hi to him?"
See, that's creepy.
And I was like, "Wait, what?" And like, I get chills now thinking about it, because it was just like, it was one of the craziest things. And it was like, yeah, of course I want to say hi to Pop-Up. She's like, "All right, come on." So she brought me up to her bedroom, and Pop-Up was in, where my grandfather was in my aunt's bedroom, my old bedroom, right? And she brought me in her room. She's like, "All right, this is really crazy. Are you sure you want to see this? Because this could really mess you up, and like this could really mess up your head." And I was like, "Of course I want to see my grandfather. He just died. I want to see him. This is amazing." So they brought me to the door of my aunt's bedroom, and she had a picture of him in like on a corner shelf. She had a picture of him with his hat that he always wore, and he wore up to like the moment he died. Yeah. He was wearing his Vikings hat, and she had the hat on top of the picture of him and her, right? And right underneath of that picture, her room was dark, and it was like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and the room was dark, and the TV was on. So you know how the TV casts kind of weird shadows sometimes, and the shadows are always changing because the TV picture is always changing. You know what I'm saying? Or the shit that's on the wall, or the you know what I'm saying? Like the shit that's the way it's lit up is always changing. Well, there was a shadow in the corner right under it that wasn't changing. That was just one like solid shadow, and like it wasn't like my grandfather's face or anything like that, but it was a shadow. And I was like, I saw it, and I was like, all right, they're kind of just being stupid. This is just a shadow of the TV, yada, yada. And they were like, "Daddy, say hi." Daddy, because to them, that's their dad. "Daddy, say hi. Nick's here. He wants to say hi to you." And all of a sudden, I see like this. I see a hand go like that.
Whoa!
Like, "Oh my God, Pop-Up, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you. Like, I love you, yada, yada." It was like the best moment. It was like the most amazing moment. 2 weeks after my grandfather died, to see him under a picture of himself waving to me. Like, because my aunt was like distraught. She was destroyed over it. She was just like crying every night that she lost her dad. She loved her dad. That was like her best friend. And she was crying every night. And it's almost like he came back to console her and say, "I'm okay. I love you."
Now, to all our listeners that are listening to this right now, there's some details that you're not being able to see.
What?
Nick is starting to like tear up a little
Nick
bit.
ain't tearing up. Nick ain't tearing up. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Nick's tearing up a little bit. So that's how.
That's my ghost story.
Take that into
To all these
account.
viewers that would normally think I'd be the one to call Nick out on that was Rich. Just
you.
pointing that out.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I know it's
but
fine.
It's saying it's showing the authenticity of it.
It was one of the most amazing moments of my life. That was the only kind of real actual ghost experience I've had, and because of that, I'm open to any ghost experience, and I'm not scared. Like my girlfriend's scared to go in the basement of this place because there's a rumor that this is the original school building, the original elementary school building for Riverside that was built in like 1850 or something. And there's a rumor that somebody was hung themselves in the basement, but was actually murdered in the basement. And she's afraid to go in the basement.
Ooh.
She thinks it's creepy and spooky down there. I go down there, and I like kind of have a smile on my face, and it's just like...
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Not even like, let's rock and roll. It's like, literally, this is the way I think of it, and this is why I want to do ghost hunting. And it's like, a lot of people fear this, and they think if it is real, they don't know if it's real or not, but if it is... then they can open themselves up to some sort of demon latching onto them, some sort of negative entity latching onto them.
Listen,
the way that I think of myself, and this is how you have to think of yourself if you're going to do it, and maybe it's foolish, maybe it's stupid, maybe it doesn't actually really exist, but to me it does. I'm surrounded in like a globe of light.
Yeah.
And that globe of light, literally shit can come up to the outer rim of that light and be like, rah, 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 and I can just laugh at it and smile at it, and I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
See,
I feel that way whenever I walk through any place that has like an extremely weird or negative energy. I feel like I'm still protected, but I can feel that energy. It's almost like I can feel it attacking. I never see it visually, like there's nothing visual, but there's a sense there. And it's almost like empaths, that's one of my notes I took, are empaths more open to sensing spirits or energies around them? And are those energies conscious? Like, it was your energy conscious that you saw?
Look, listen, dude.
I feel like mine was.
You know, the fact that it turned and looked at me before
did it look you in the eyes, or did you like feel like it was looking you in the eyes?
I couldn't see any features, man. I couldn't see, like, it just looked like a head. But you could tell when it turned to me, it looked like it walked out and just did like a quarter right turn and looked right at me, man. Like, I don't know, man. I searched around, so I'm like, yo, maybe it was a car exhaust. Maybe a car turned around the corner. So so I was like really like hard.
That's like my UFO story, man.
He was freaked out when he
some sort of
explanation.
I was thinking, sense. I'm like, come on. I was like, is this a car? Was it a car exhaust? Yeah. Was it a manhole? Was it bird shit? Was it fog? I don't know, man.
Well, this is a little exclusive for all our viewers. You might think a little less of me, but I got shit on by a bird the other day.
Oh, congratulations. That's good luck.
Right after my brand new car that I bought the day before overheated on me. So I was just having a wonderful couple days.
But yeah, you know, like it was one of those things where it's just like, it was really trippy. And like Brian said, I went into work and I was just freaking out, man. Like, I was going up to everybody to tell them, like, yo, what the...
Rightfully so, but you gotta be careful with that, because you have to remember when you're telling people that anybody who's listening to you is limited by their own beliefs. And depending on how much they respect you, and it's not like a respect like you or anything like that, but how much they respect your beliefs and your opinions and what you're about, depends on whether or not they're going to think of you as a nut job from now on, or, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, really, you shouldn't give a shit what other people think, but if you're going into your job...
I don't care.
I went into a job one time, and it was the best paying job I ever had, and I went into this job, and, like, I immediately just opened up to who I was, and I, like, wanted to talk about politics. I wanted to talk about some corruption, and this and that, and you know what I'm saying?
But you know what's funny? At my job...
I immediately rubbed people the wrong way.
At my job, we had like a couple, maybe like one or two of the guys just crack up, and like they weren't crack up, but they just like snickered at, like, oh yeah. But then there was a couple other people, including our bosses, Brad and Jeremy, who were actually very genuine about it, and they were like, wow, like they, you know, my boss was like, it's faith, man. It's about faith. It's not about what you believe. It's about having faith.
So,
and then another friend of mine,
faith in something else out there. There's something else more than we know.
Another buddy of mine, his name is Amra Ricketts. He wrote to me on Facebook, and he wrote me back, and he has a YouTube channel called Flitz. It's Flitz. You just type in Flitz, Flitz, and he makes a lot of cool shit with gaming. And he had he's from North Philly, so he had a lot of he's seen a lot of crazy things in his life. You know, he lives in North Philly, man, and he lost somebody really important to him, and it really did something to his faith. It made his faith, I think, stronger. I mean, we would have to ask him about that, but he told me. This is what he wrote to me. He wrote, "Welcome back to faith, brother."
Yeah, that's
all he had to say. Yep. Welcome back to faith.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn what faith is. It's not about a solid belief. It's not about having tangible things in your hand, tangible things in you that you can see. Faith is something that's different.
Do you know what faith is to me? Faith is knowing that this right here. Like, so many people come into this world, and as you get older, you tend to just really believe that this skin and bones and the blood that runs through my body and the thoughts that are in my brain and the chemistry that's going on in my brain, that is me. And they completely forget that this is only your vehicle, that the real you you need to let really shine, and don't believe that this physical vehicle is all you.
Well, here's
it's
some
a triumvirate.
Here's some
physical vehicle, the brain or the mind, and your soul all need to work together. When people like understand that, that's being
well to
open
me,
to faith.
like all right,
you know what I'm saying? Scientifically, you might not.
What
be
I got
open
from
to something
what I got from the science aspect of it, and this is from really starting to do research up until this point, is that. To me, it all sounds the same. It's just that they're wording it different. They don't. It sounds like science don't want to say God or spirit. They just want to say particles and electrons and protons and neutrons and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like they want. Hold on, because you can read me some, but I got some points. All right, so when you die, all your matter is pretty much dispersed evenly throughout the universe again. Onto this planet. Our planet's one day is going to be destroyed. It's going to become vaporized by our sun when it turns into a red giant. And
unless we move it, we may find a way to move it.
But we'll be off the planet by then.
Exactly.
We hope.
Why move it? We're going to have it destroyed.
A couple billion years from now, yeah. 3 billion years.
Move to a gym.
But so pretty much what they're saying is that our body, the matter in our body, it's all going to go back into the universe at large anyway.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yep.
So, but the thing is the question is consciousness a part of the physical? Do you need a physical outlet to have consciousness, or is consciousness totally? Is it part of the fabric of the universe and it detached? It can become detached. Like, are humans and animals and insects some kind of metamorphosis? Like, can we metamorphosize ourselves, and when we die, we just transition to this other plane? That's the problem that they're having now.
Yeah,
they can't explain it.
Trying to explain that, and that's the thing is that's not something that is of this relative world. It's not something that you're going to be able to explain with this relative world, other than we're probably about, I would say, maybe 5,000 years away from the technological development and the development of our own intelligence.
No,
and IQ.
2,000.
2,000?
To become a Type 2 civilization, it'd be...
Type 3, you become a god.
Yeah. Type 2...
3, you can create universes and you can create life. You understand that you create biological entities that you place energy into. They understand. Type 3 understands how to take a soul, basically, energy, and put consciousness into a biological entity.
All right, so
that's what type
to our viewers who don't know what we're talking about, it's
Michio Kaku's
it's a
understanding. We're Type 0 right now.
He's the guy from the commercial.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite scientist. I love Michio Kaku.
I despise Michio Kaku.
I love Michio Kaku.
I despise.
I already told my wife, when we have a kid, if we have another kid and it's a boy, his first name's gonna be Michio.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
First off, Michio Kaku is amazing. All right.
No,
he is amazing.
He is such a sellout to the scientific.
He is not a sellout.
Because he went on Alex Jones.
No, he's just a sellout. We can do a whole nother show.
We'll do a show. Don't ever talk about Michio, man.
Or is Michio Kaku a good guy or bad guy?
I love Michio Kaku.
I think he's a bad guy.
Michio
I think he's got
Kaku's
nefarious purposes, and he's Mr. Fucking Market myself because I'm Michio Kaku, and this is the way that
and hey, don't talk about Michio, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a whole fucking character.
Anyway,
and I don't know that. I think Michio Kaku goes home and he's like, "Honey, give me some fucking ramen noodles, and I want to fucking watch Barbarians on TV or something."
No.
You know?
Anyway, what we were talking about Michio Kaku's ranking system on the evolution of man. So right now we are currently in a stage. We're type 0,
yeah.
But within the next 100 years, we are going to transition to a Type 1 civilization. And it takes about 2,000 years after becoming a Type 1 civilization to become a Type 2. Yeah. After we become a Type 2, we're pretty much immortal. And then after that,
we are immortal, but we're not gods yet. We don't have the ability to create. Type 3 is when you have the ability to create universes.
When we become Type 2...
You're down to the quantum level of understanding all that and how to manipulate it and create.
But when we become Type 2, we pretty much, at that point, we are immortal. We can cure all diseases.
Is there a Type 3 that oversees us? And if that's the case, is there a Type 3 that understands exactly what ghosts are, and they laugh at us when we're trying to figure out what the fuck a ghost is?
Of course.
And they're like, it's actually 33 different things that it could possibly be. So what Rich saw was actually a image that was imprinted on time and in that time and place. And Rich actually drove through him, and Rich was imprinted on that time and place as well. And that guy actually looked over and for a split second saw a car, a futuristic looking car coming at him, and he couldn't understand what was going on. And for the rest of that day and for the rest of that guy's life, he's like, what the fuck did I just see? That just fucked me up. Same exact shit as Rich is going through. This guy's going through, you know what I'm saying?
That's called
a type 3 civilization might understand that.
That's called what Nick was describing is it's called 5-dimensional space-time. So like you people being like space-time, there is no, because like we said earlier, there is no time and there is no time.
If you're familiar with Watchmen, think Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly. So space and time are one, and certain people or certain time periods, we're all meshed into one, so you can jump in and out.
Well, here's the question.
I believe that we're type. I believe we're 5-dimensional beings.
I think a lot of people would ask why we're doing a Ghost and a UFO show together. Why would we do that? Because in all reality, ghosts and UFOs could be almost the same type of phenomenon, or of the same phenomenon of interdimensional. Because a lot of people have the same speculation, and I had the exact that speculation myself from my ghost story, or from what I saw. I believe that it's interdimensional. That UFOs are mostly interdimensional, and that's what we're seeing. And if that's the case, then could ghosts also be interdimensional? Could when you die, you almost shift into a different dimension?
But what do you
know what I'm saying? Your energy shifts into a plane that your energy can exist on?
This is where science and religion. This is where science and religion gets into battles, because people use quantum physics and they use dimensions as a way to explain the afterlife.
All right,
and
now
and
here's
ghosts like that.
what's going to kind of screw us up.
What?
Because you can talk about quantum physics all you want, but quantum physics nothing has yet to explain.
But it's measurable. We have
Schrodinger's cat.
We have measured quantum physics.
We have
in labs, and
we've observed it.
We've observed
it.
But if we observed it and we've seen it thousands of times, the theory actually becomes when scientific world, a theory is actually something that is real. And then what they do is it's observable, it's real, it's tangible, but they call it a theory because it's still, you can still prove more beyond that theory.
Here's the one theory that they can't get past, and this is the notes that I took on it, and I did research into it probably 5 years ago before I ever woke up into political awareness and all this, okay? But I almost forgot all about it until I watched something on it earlier today, and this is all the notes I took on it, okay? And this is what I call the observer, okay? Schrodinger's cat. Put a cat in a box. Is that cat dead or alive? Well, you do not know until you observe. It can be said that the act of observing creates a dead or alive cat. Then who is observing consciousness? Yours, to be exact, in order for you to be an alive human. Does a ghost or a UFO not exist if it is not observed? If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? The universe is in constant flux. That's
called that's explained by biocentrism. Biocentrism is a theory based by a man, a leading stem cell scientist named Robert Lanza. He's from New York. I think Long Island, if I'm not mistaken. And Robert Lanza, he thinks that consciousness comes first, and then everything else followed.
Yes. All right. Now here's all right. If you're open to shit, okay, and I'm not trust me, I'm not about to get preachy on you because I'm not preachy about it, and I have been preachy in the past, and you can think that I'm getting preachy, but trust me, this ain't shit.
Preachy bastard.
What I believe in is basically, and there's no such like religion. You don't call yourself a religion, or you don't say, oh, this is my religion and this is my faith. And people have tried to tell me, oh, this is what you are. Oh, you're a humanist, or you're this. No. You're not going to tell me what the hell I am. I know what the hell I am. Okay, I'm nothing. I do not claim anything because all of that is bullshit. This is what I believe is basically that we're all God. We are all God, and God existed at one point, but it was only God. So think about it this way. If you're just you and you're surrounded by blankness all around you, do you have a mirror to look at yourself? No. Do you have somebody else to talk to? No. So if you're all and everything that exists, well, then you can split yourself into two. And then once you split yourself into two, you've created a relative thing. And this is all from Conversations with God. This is this book called Conversations with God that I wrote. That I read.
Is that I had a dream about this last night.
What?
I had a dream about this last night.
Well, it's
And-
splitting your consciousness, and
Yeah.
that's all we are, is God splitting his consciousness so he can experience himself in all different forms. In the bad forms, in the good forms, in the Mahatma Gandhis and the Hitlers. And when you understand that, you understand Hitler went to heaven because we're all God. Hitler was God. Even the most demonic, evil entities and people out there are God. And that's when you understand how there can be things like...
or David the Rothschild.
Well, that's why you understand there can be things like Bohemian Grove. And like how they're sacrificing something to some sort of a god, some sort of an owl god, and it's like that god is actually God. You got to understand that the good and the bad, the yin and the yang, it is all God.
I've been having these very strange.
You can't have
dreams.
good without evil. We live in this relative world.
I've been having these
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
I've been having these very strange dreams
sense,
for years now. These guys know about these strange dreams that I've been having.
Yep.
Last night, I had this really crazy one, man, and it was me talking to, I don't know, some really loud dude.
Jesse
I don't
Ellis.
fucking know. Someone with an extremely deep voice. And what the voice was telling me, I was asking these questions, and the questions was like, so pretty much, what is the meaning of life? Like, all right, so why are we alive? And for those of you who don't know, I have very heightened, vivid, lucid dreams. My lucid dreams are just insane. Like, I have them all the time.
You're part Native American, aren't you?
Yeah, part Native American, yeah.
I saw a documentary last night.
We're both Native American, all right? Don't you fucking get started on that shit, all right?
man.
I don't know if you saw my fucking Facebook post. Don't get me started on that shit, all right?
Now, do you have the vivid dreams too, Nick?
Yes, I do. Not all.
Because I saw a documentary last night about how Native Americans have like these vivid visions.
We can't drink tequila either. But yeah, I have some really fucking vivid dreams.
Yeah.
So in the dream, the questions I was asking, I was like, all right, what is the meaning of life, right? And the meaning, I'm going to read this, thank you.
Yeah,
and the meaning of life, what God was saying was, it was just to experience itself.
Yes.
So our universe is, from what the spirit or whatever the fuck it was telling me, we are in a universe, right? Mm-hmm. And our universe is in what science calls the multiverse. So there's trillions. I mean, there's even it's a number that you cannot describe.
Every time you make a choice, 2 universes are created. It's another universe.
It's insane.
Created.
It's an insane amount. So we have so many universes out there, and we're just one. So we're like an atom within this giant multiverse, and this giant multiverse is acting like a giant. From what I took, a giant brain. And our stars and everything like that are actually like what we would describe as our brain cells.
When we do a mapping of our universe and from the most accurate mapping of our universe or picture of our universe, it looks like the neural connections inside of a brain. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So if we could imagine, if we could get outside of our universe, which sounds like you can't get outside. Yeah. If you're thinking about multiverse,
we physically can't.
Okay, we physically can't.
Yeah.
But if we could get outside of our universe and look at all of the universes together, what do you think it would look like?
It would be who knows?
No, the exact same thing. A brain. What you're saying, it would look like the neural connections of a brain. All of it is connected. And so, in all reality, all those universes that you're talking about, that's all of the possibilities.
So
that's when they get down to quantum physics and they see that there's so many different possibilities.
So the spirit thing was telling me that what was I going to say? That it experiences itself because, and it needs the negativity because being by itself, it was asking like,
how does it know?
How does it know that it's alive? Pretty much. How does it know it's alive?
Well, and without knowing bad, without experiencing bad, how do you know what good is? You know what I'm saying? And that's what you find with like rich people who grow up, like rich kids who grow up, they've never actually had a bad experience, so they think life is all good, and when they actually have a real bad experience, it's like the end of the world because like they've never experienced the bad to really know what the dynamic is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it was there's so many things and so many points that this entity that I was talking to in my dream, maybe it was just my brain, but it was saying that it just wanted,
that is God.
It just wanted to experience itself, and that love is the driving force of the universe.
Yes.
And hatred and evil is actually the opposite of love, but it's done intentional for love.
It's necessary.
It's necessary. It's extremely necessary.
So the grandest hate we have will come about the grandest good that we have, or the grandest love that we had. Without that grandest hate, we cannot have.
So I was asking things like, all right, well, how about the dinosaurs? So then why do we have dinosaurs, and why do we have insects and ants and rocks and you know what it was saying? It wants to experience itself
in all forms.
Every single possible way it can, even as an atom.
All forms.
It's experiencing itself even in the atoms and particles and strings itself. It's experiencing itself.
That's why science believes cellular is the lowest level of consciousness, and cells are the lowest level of consciousness. And I've never really believed that. I believe it's all conscious, all of it, even this microphone right here. Of course, I'm not talking about the conscious that we have. It's a different kind of conscious, but it is all. This is all comes from that one consciousness. Like in my belief, it all comes from that one consciousness that ended up splitting itself. That was the Big Bang was the creation of the relative world.
That's not just your belief. The Bible says that God is in everything. So whatever you perceive that higher power to be, if it's in everything, that's pretty much the universal belief. It's just not being presented the same way.
Exactly. Well, think of it this way. When I'm in here and I'm knocking on a table saying, well, this is God, this microphone is God. Well, I'm saying consciousness, but I believe consciousness is God, right? Well, this is God, this microphone is God. Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, shut up, Nick. What are you talking about? But hold on, let's go outside and let me do the same exact thing with just the stuff. That's all I'm doing is knocking on the stuff that's around me. Let me go outside and knock on the stuff that's around me. Let me knock on a tree and knock on some grass and knock on the ground.
Well, shit, the UN will come after you.
But I'm talking about the nature that's around me. Then people are a little more accepting to say, well, you know what? Yeah, maybe that is God. Maybe, and we do accept that nature. Well,
apparently, from what the thing that was telling me, it was like
there's people who think rocks have consciousness.
Yeah, people were the dream was telling me that. I keep losing my points. I keep losing my points, like right there at the cusp of it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I keep losing my points.
Come on, let's wrap it up on Ghosts because we're about 45 minutes in, so it's about halfway.
Right.
So, any other points on Ghosts before I just read you my half a page of notes on Ghosts?
Yes, all we need is a high-tech laser containment system and some nuclear propulsion packs that we can strap on our back that create laser beams, and we'll be fine.
What if we're not meant to understand ghosts? What if we're simply just not meant to understand ghosts? That's why you can set up all in some place with like the most ghosts that have ever been seen. You can set up all this equipment, and chances are you're not going to see anything.
That's what it was. That was the point that I was trying to make.
Not going to catch anything.
Is that I asked it? I said, well, if there is an afterlife, why hasn't science found it? And the entity, whatever, told me it did find it. You did find it. The stars, the galaxy, the universe, the plants, the water, the air. That is proof that God is that God exists.
You know what else is?
It's just what's up.
When a human body dies, literally the moment after it dies, or the moment after it takes its last breath, it becomes 21 grams lighter.
That's a unproven theory, man. That happened a long time ago.
Yeah, I've looked into it.
I looked into it. There hasn't been any more studies about that happening.
Yeah, there haven't, but it's accepted in many fields.
But it was saying that we have found proof. It's just that we don't. Scientists don't believe it as proof. They believe it as it is what it is. They take it face value as opposed to.
Well, there's a lot of people think
other
that
values.
Science has kind of restricted the evolution of humanity, and I think that for the most part that's bullshit. But then when you realize, you think about something like the pineal gland. How come science hasn't really made any advances or learned too much about the pineal gland? And if they have, how come it's not like as well known? Because it's definitely a big part of your functions. See, the sad part is science likes to say, especially the medical community likes to say it has everything figured out.
Well, they like keeping us sick.
But they don't. But you know what? Up until 2005, they weren't even really aware of the endocannabinoid system.
Anyway,
are you fucking kidding me? The endocannabinoid system is like a major part of your body. All right, here's my notes real quick on ghosts. Listen to this. This is just a couple of the almost undeniable ghost stories that you can see out there. And like, I'm gonna do the same thing with a bunch of UFO stories. I'm not pulling this shit up for you. If you're interested, if somebody's listening to this and you're interested in finding either UFO video or ghost video that is like almost undeniable or like will really turn your head into a pretzel or turn your brain into a pretzel, check this shit out. All right. This chick named Jackie. It's weird because these ghost stories, you don't get names. Some of these stories you don't get last names, but I guess you want to remain anonymous with some of it because you might seem crazy for coming out with the shit, and it's sad. We got to get past that stigma. This chick named Jackie. In her house, this dude named Barry Conrad came by with his ghost hunting team. It's actually well known. If you want to look into it, just look up Barry Conrad ghost attack. He was attacked by a ghost in an attic, and there's a noose around his neck, and there's a picture taken of him like with his neck. Like,
that is crazy.
And, like,
I seen that video.
arms down, so it's like it's not him putting himself up on it, and he was almost hanging from a nail with the noose around his neck.
Yeah, I seen that.
The next day, the lady Jackie, who lived there, she had a newborn baby. There was a red mark that appeared on the baby's forehead, and she moved that day. She moved away literally that day. Yeah. And then Ed and Lorraine Warren, I wanted to do more ghost research, but you know what? We're going to have to do a scientific research ghost show.
And there's one more video, if you guys want to look up, that was pretty compelling to me after I watched it. You know, it was a thing about a lady named Pam Reynolds. Mm-hmm. Pam Reynolds had...
I'm pretty sure I know Pam Reynolds. Okay, I've heard all these
stories. Pam Reynolds had... what is it, a blood clot in her brain. Mm-hmm. She had a tumor. Mm-hmm. And...
it's not a tumor.
Apparently, she went into surgery, and a group of scientists, doctors, they decided to experiment with a new type of surgery. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they cooled her body down. They're doing this all the time now, mind you. But this was brand new at the time. They cooled her body down to damn near 30 degrees, and they drained all her blood out of her body, and so pretty much she was dead. Yeah. So her heart stopped.
Did they fill her with saline?
No, they didn't fill her with anything. The brain stopped. Mm-hmm. Everything stopped functioning. Mm-hmm. They took the tumor out, and then they rebooted her pretty much. Mm-hmm. But what happened was during that whole experience, she said that she was watching it all happen. She watched everything happen.
That actually happened to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, she had her stroke. She saw herself right after she was having the experience of holy fuck, what's going on? She had a full blown stroke where she couldn't talk, couldn't walk. It took her years to recover. But she says right after she started feeling she had a stroke, she basically it was an out of body experience. She zoomed out and could see herself on the ground, fucked up. And and she wasn't found for hours, so it's
there's a lot of, and you know what the crazy thing is? There's a lot of people saying there's we have our own equilibrium thing in our brain. Mm-hmm. I forget what the actual name of it is, but when that's tampered with, it's what sets us spatially. It's what tells us where space is and where everything is. And they say that when that mechanism is damaged or about to be damaged, we can pop out and it's just free fall.
Well, I think your soul is somehow contained, and I think it is in your pineal gland.
Well, it could be.
They call that the seat of your soul. That's where your third eye
what
is.
Stuart Hameroff and Sir Roger Penrose think it is. They think it's in the microtubules in our brain. And microtubules are these pretty much what they are.
That makes sense, and that's one of the scientific theories that I came across that we'll get into.
They're pretty much. It's pretty much. It's pretty much. Our microtubules act like a processor, so it's ones and zeros. It shuts off and on, and they're connect them quantumly. And when the system stops functioning, the quantum what is it called? Quantum entanglement stays together, and then it just seeps into the universe at large. Yeah. And that's what they think the soul could possibly be. And we have
is that those microtubules return to, because it's almost a form of energy.
Well, the energy that's in the energy that's in the microtubules, and microtubules can be found throughout our entire body. Mm-hmm. It's not just in our brain, but our brain is where we think and breathe, and think and all that stuff like that. But they say when we die, that's where it just entangles itself, and then
See, I really wish sometimes science wasn't so full of itself thinking that it's got it all figured out, because there's constantly new advancements in figuring out the human brain.
Like them damn aliens.
Like them damn aliens. All right, like Ed and Lorraine Warren, you want to look into anything they've done. They've been involved with the Amityville Horror. There was this place in Connecticut. I don't think it was The Haunting in Connecticut, even though that movie was based on a real story, whatever. These people in Connecticut that had a poltergeist that was moving chairs and tables. But there's plenty of video that they took of the poltergeist moving chairs and tables, and it's almost irrefutable that there's something there moving the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Nick, are you familiar with the Mothman prophecies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mothman's pretty crazy.
What do you think of that? Would you consider that more paranormal or extraterrestrial?
I believe Mothman, Bigfoot, a lot of these...
Jersey Devil.
A lot of these different monsters that people talk about. I believe, personally, that there could be an interdimensional type of thing going on, and where they don't have the ability to shift in between our dimensions, but some of them have actually found interdimensional portals that, to them, may be a lot easier to find than it would be for the average human who doesn't really do much hunting or doesn't do much
that makes me
exploring.
That makes me laugh, because Bigfoot, imagine Bigfoot.
Can't find Bigfoot. Hold on.
Imagine Bigfoot being like...
No, but what I'm saying is you can't find Bigfoot. You can't find Bigfoot. You can't find no real remains have been found of Bigfoot and of a lot of these different monsters. But some of them you have found the remains, but it's like they seem like they're not from this planet. And it's like, maybe they're not, but maybe they're from a different dimension. All right. Also, look into Patience Worth. I don't know if it's bullshit or not, but it's basically a lady who channeled a dead chick and wrote 2 or 3 books channeling.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying channelers, man.
I'm not buying either, but when you look into it, just look up Patience Worth.
I will.
If you look into it, 3 published books, and it's kind of interesting because it's basically the only 3 books that were ever published by a dead person.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or by a spirit.
Well, there was another guy who did that a long time ago in Brazil. They made a movie about it, and it was pretty freaking awesome. It's called City in the Sky or something like that. Look that up. It's a good movie.
All right, are we ready to move on to UFOs?
Yeah, let's go.
Because I've got pages of UFOs notes, and my whole life has been UFOs.
Okay, so Grays.
What about Grays? Can we start with our stories?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I want to hear y'all's stories, because my story is just gonna fucking, I don't say blow y'all's out the water, but if you believe mine, it will.
I have a story. To a degree, I don't know if I believe it. I was a little kid at the time. I was on a school bus, and there's a guy named Mr. Nana. He used to pick us all the...
Mr. Nana?
Mr. Nana.
He sounds like an alien.
No. Mr. Nana was one of the...
Nana.
He was... to describe him, he was an angel.
Nanu, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you're thinking Nanu. Mr. Nana was an angel, man. And Mr. Nana, if you ever hear this, I hope one day I can reconnect with you, man, because you really inspired me throughout my life. He was the type of person that would take kids from the ghetto, like us, me, my friends, kids, no families, nothing. And he would just, for the summertime, man, he would do things with us. He out of love, he used to take us to the swimming pool. He used to take us to, obstacle courses.
He was a positive male figure.
Yeah, he was just
and knew that.
He just grabbed us.
Purposefully a positive male figure in your life.
He would just grab us.
Awesome.
He would just, have our parents sign a waiver and no money involved. He would just be like, yo, I want you guys to come through and let's go to the swimming pool. And he used to take us every summer, man. It was pretty much like camp without camp. Wow. Mr. Nana, man. He was an amazing guy. But anyway, we were driving back from a swimming pool, I guess, at one of his friends' houses. Uh-huh. And as we were driving back, there was this... It looked like a ball of light.
Was it dark out or no?
It was dark out,
okay.
Yeah. It was a ball of light hovering above us. It could have been a helicopter.
Okay.
And the light went off, and it went back on. And it was like following us. And it was making these weird zigzag patterns. And I was thinking maybe it was a helicopter, because in my hood, you see helicopters all the time. You know what I mean? When they're searching for somebody. But it didn't look like that, man. It was strange. So I just marked it off as like, whoa, that was weird. And everybody around us was like, yo, it's aliens, man. Yo, they're going to take us over.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's full of shit. But that was pretty much like my alien experience.
All right.
I guess.
All right, but did that experience affect you going forward as to being somewhat interested in what UFOs were, or did you eventually just come to the point of just like
to a degree? I mean,
I don't really believe in UFOs.
It got me into a degree to the point where I was watching Ancient Aliens, and I thought Ancient Aliens was hilarious, man. Ancient Aliens is so funny, yo.
It's funny.
I love it. It's just a funny show.
The thing is, 50% of it, I'd have to say, and it's sad because I don't even think it's on the air anymore. 50% of it was actual like stuff that was worth looking into, but because they basically dumped so much of it on there and put so much speculation, everything was, well, that means it could have possibly been extraterrestrial. Or definitely possibly could have had extraterrestrial interference. Like, everything is like, well, that means it could have possibly.
Eric Von Donovan.
And it's like, but some of the stuff, there's like just little bits of like actual stuff worth looking into sprinkled into all the episodes. But it was almost like they were just they were pooping in the punch bowl, you know?
We see that the ancients made these weird artifacts like monkeys and spiders.
Like somebody told him to do his hair like that. Somebody said,
"Yo, that boy's
hair like that," and people will just discredit you as soon as they'll just get to our channel and go right past it. Perfect. You know
aliens. It's all about aliens.
Like, there was a lot of
David Icke.
A lot of speculation that the CIA owned History Channel and History 2. So, and when you think about that and having an alien show on TV where you just make outlandish, stupid claims, and
they have to make
there's
people look
literally
stupid.
a meme on the internet now that says it's aliens with you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, it's just such discredited everything aliens, and everybody just kind of laughs about it. If you really want to seriously talk about aliens, if I try and talk to somebody about my UFO experience, 98% of people out there want to be like, yeah, I've watched Ancient Aliens. Yeah, it's some pretty funny stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's nothing now, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like everybody's like, we're all under the understanding that there's definitely some sort of alien or UFO presence here. No, it's just we're all under the understanding that it's aliens. And it's just a crazy, goofy show, you know what I'm saying? And it's like nobody takes it serious anymore. Whereas for the longest time, UFO shit was kind of taken serious, and people didn't want to talk about it because it's kind of scary shit.
Big fan. You got a UFO story?
Nothing specific, no. But
no?
I just grew up reading sci-fi a lot, so I was interested.
No, like crazy blinking lights in the sky that you weren't sure what they were?
And then I've seen things where I'm like, I don't think that's a plane, but never close enough.
See, that's how I was for the longest time. That's how I was for the longest time up until I had my experience.
Let's hear this experience.
I would see like blinking lights
that's
in the
what I'm
sky
waiting
sometimes.
on. I want to hear what his...
I want to hear your experience. Let's go.
I could have a really fucked up past. Pardon my language. Pardon my French, folks. But I could have a really fucked up past. I have memories inside my head, and I don't know if it's because of my interest in aliens and UFOs and stuff, but I have memories inside my head from being a kid of waking up and there being aliens standing at my window when I'm when I was a little kid, and when I was actually maybe like 10 or 11 years old.
Shh, don't look out the window.
My bedroom was on the ground floor when I was 10 or 11 years old, and there was aliens staring at it, like in my window, like looking at me.
Like
I just
owls?
kind of went back to sleep, just like looking in my
if
window.
that happened to me,
not moving, just like looking in my window.
shit.
But I don't know if that was a dream or not, because I'm pretty sure I just
No,
went
'cause-
right back to sleep.
No.
And I had that memory in my head of aliens looking in at me.
You would
What's
not
your
be
story?
able to fall right
What's your
back
story?
to
What's
sleep.
This is just giving you my background a little bit. And I also, when I was a younger child, remember many nights waking up to an extremely bright light in my backyard. Like an extremely bright light. And I would look out and I would see a bright light, but couldn't ever know what it was. It literally
shit,
looked like
Nick's
it was
a
a
reptilian.
spotlight in the backyard. And that's when I was like 5 and 6 years old. So I get, like, my memory of that is just
Reptilian shapeshifters.
so I wasn't sure if that shit was a dream or not. Up until my experience,
name
I
is
would see
Nick.
little lights in the sky. Some nights I would be up until 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning and would watch the northern star, watching it blink, and didn't realize that the atmosphere, as the planet moves and as the atmosphere moves around the planet, as we move under the atmosphere, it literally makes some stars, especially brighter stars, at certain times of the night, sparkle and twinkle.
I want to hear this story.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, for real. It's getting
story.
late.
It is getting late. Here's what happened. I was smoking weed with my boy. Okay? So I always use that as the first disclaimer. So people, if they want to say, "Oh, you were just high and seeing shit," go ahead and say it. I don't really care if people want to believe this or not. Spoken with my boy. I was like, all right, I'm going home. Jump in my truck, start driving. I'm in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Start driving in my truck, drive up to the main road to get back to the highway, right? Get on the main road, and as I'm about to turn onto the main road, I see like 3 or 4 little red lights that almost look like if you've ever seen Chinese lanterns, the Chinese floating lanterns or whatever. Yeah. It almost looked like those because they were like floating up in the sky, right? So these things, I see like 3 or 4 of them, and they're like floating almost in my direction, but I wanted to get a better look. So I turned onto the main road, and then I turned off of the main road and pulled over. And for some reason, I had a camera like we used for this show, but it was like 10 times cheaper and a real shitty one, right? I got from Big Lots for $10. For some reason, I brought that camera with me that night. For the first time ever, I brought that camera with me. Well, I grabbed that camera off of the seat, had never used the camera before, never even turned it on before, okay? Grabbed that camera off the seat, jump out the truck, get to like an open clearing, because the road I turned onto had trees and shit, so it was kind of hard to see the sky. Get to an open clearing where there weren't trees, and I see these red lights. There's not just 4 or 5 of them. There's like 10 or 15 of them. And they're floating like in my direction, almost over my head. And, like, I'm seeing them come up over the horizon, watching them go over my head and go to the other side of the horizon.
Hot air balloons, maybe?
I didn't know what they were. They looked like just like almost like Chinese lanterns, like maybe 500 feet up or 1,000 feet up.
I believe the FBI determined that to be a weather balloon.
Swamp gas.
Oh, here's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
Hold
swamp
on.
gas.
I had a camera in my hand. Hold on, I had a camera in my hand.
Swamp was taking.
I had a video camera in my hand. I turned the video camera on as soon as I got out the truck and I get to that clearing. I turned the video camera on and I hit the record button. Right? Well, obviously it's a cheap camera, and I didn't realize you got to hold the record button for like a half a second or a second.
Good job,
my
man.
So I just hit the record button and look up at it, and I'm watching the shit. And it was such a cheap one; it just had a viewfinder. It didn't have a little screen to tell me it was recording. Mm-hmm. Huh? Someone just yell my name?
No,
that's what I thought.
Well, I think I'm recording this thing. These UFOs as they're going over my head. I think they're UFOs. They're red dots. I don't know what they are. I was like, it's going to be an interesting video no matter what, right? They're all going over about 15, 20, maybe even about 25 go over my head. And they look like Chinese lanterns, red dots, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of hard to make out, but they look like they're kind of moving in the wind a little bit, like wobbling a little bit, but they're floating over my head about 1,000 feet up. All of a sudden, one comes over the horizon, and it looks like it's only about 100 feet up. And it's not lit up. It's got a very, very dim glow to it. Real dim glow to it, like it was just lit up, but it turned its light off or some shit, and it was only like 100, maybe 200 feet off the ground. Ooh. This thing went directly over my head. I'm sitting there with a camera, and the whole time I'm like, oh my god, this is the craziest thing. As I'm seeing the other ones, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, thinking I'm narrating my UFO video. As this one's coming, I get silent, and I'm like, holy fuck, this thing's about to go right over top of me. It does go right over top of me. I'm sitting there with my camera just absolutely silent, like terrified
How high was
that
it?
some shit's going to happen. It was maybe 150, 200 feet off the ground. I could see clearly almost what the shape and details of what this thing were. It looked like the shape of almost a Band-Aid, like a normal Band-Aid. It looked like the shape of that, but on one end of it, like all pushed off to one side of it, almost like it was just one giant wing. On one end of it was one giant like dome or globe, and that's what was lit up red, and it's almost like it was spinning around that globe. And that, like, the outside of it was spinning around that globe. But the craziest part about it, and this is the part that, like, boggles my mind. If I'd seen that, just that, I'd have been like, probably some crazy new military technology, military flight thing that I don't know about yet. Some new military plane I don't know about yet. But what it was doing was manipulating, like, I literally saw it warping or distorting the environment around it. Almost like it was half in our world, half in another or some shit. It was like literally like when you see heat rising up off the ground. You know what I'm saying? When you see heat rising up off of asphalt and how it can like make everything wavy. It was doing that completely around its complete perimeter. But like for like 10, 15 feet out. Where it was like distorting reality around it. The thing just completely destroyed my mind after that. Luckily, as soon as that thing went over my head, I looked around. There was some guy walking his dog, just stopped in the middle of the sidewalk, looking up, watching this shit. And I looked over, and he was just like, please tell me I'm not crazy. Please tell me you just saw that. And he didn't even say anything. He just shook his head. and like put his head down and walked away, like he was just like blown away by what he had just seen. And I got back in my car, and this is the one thing I recorded. I wish I could find it because I have it somewhere stored on one of my computers or hard drives or something. But this is when I got back in the truck. I thought I had hit stop record after the real low one went by. I was like, oh my God, I have the most amazing UFO video you've ever seen. But I got back in the truck, started to drive home, pulled out the thing again, was a little more like, it was calm enough to be able to hold down the record button for a second, thinking I have 2 videos, one showing it and another one of my reaction to it. Because my reaction right after it, I'm going to be able to describe everything that happened and what happened the perfect way, right? So I got in the truck and I started describing it. Like, I recorded a video. It's completely like black because I'm like driving at night and I don't have any lights on in the truck or anything. But you can hear me like almost in tears, like not screaming, but like hysterically going through what just happened. And like I got home and was just like told my mom, it was just like the most like craziest thing I've ever seen just happened to me. Like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life just happened. And from that point forward, I now know. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I now know that aliens exist or that UFOs are real. I know that unidentified flying objects and people that have seen things that cannot be identified as from this world, or at least as we know from this world, there's real things out there. And everybody, I used to honestly, part of me thought that people who saw them were people who have just kind of gone crazy. You know what I'm saying? Part of me kind of thought that because I never saw it. I was like, if so many people have saw them, I'm always looking for this shit. How come I haven't seen it?
Devil's advocate.
One time I wasn't looking for it.
Blue beam.
This wasn't Blue Beam, Brian. I'll tell you right now. This is what I saw something physical.
Like, how do you know that this was real? Because if it was distorting around it, maybe that was the projection.
Because
wow, can't talk.
Only because I got the sense what I was looking at. It was so close that I felt like it was like I almost felt its physical presence there, and the glow of the dome didn't like the glow of the other domes. Yeah, I guess maybe you could say like how they were brightly glowing. You could say that maybe that could just be blue beam. They're high up, but this thing being so low, seeing more detail because the glow wasn't outshining my eyes, so I couldn't see any of the detail. Yeah. Like the glow was off, but just barely there. It was real dim, but like that dim glow, I was looking at like an actual light. I wasn't looking at some sort of projection. And the fact that it was so low, it literally, I feel like it was probably 50 feet above the treetops. Wow. And I don't think like Blue Beam is the type of thing that's going to come down 50 feet above the treetops and get people like that, you know what I'm saying? True. And like, all the other stories that I've heard and I've discredited in the past, it made me reevaluate them and be like, holy shit, I can't just discredit that kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? It opened up my mind to so many different kind of things. And like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I saw aliens. I hate hearing people say they know what they saw and they can explain exactly what they saw. I can't explain what I saw, but I know for a fact I saw something. Yeah. And I looked into MUFON and I wanted to report my story to MUFON. And my discovery from somebody who had a UFO story who wanted to share it with MUFON is that MUFON is not very open to everybody's UFO experience. They're open to the UFO experience that helps them tell their story or helps them tell a story. They're not an actual like, hey, we log everybody's UFO stories. All right. Do you want me to give you the list of videos you want to see? No, I don't want to give you that list. It's not that great.
Roswell. Just type in Roswell.
Oh, I'm so tired of hearing about fucking Roswell.
Yeah, Area 51.
Area 51.
There's nothing.
Guadalajara,
working
Mexico.
on top
fucking
secret
Phoenix,
government
Arizona.
technology.
That's what screwed me up. I saw a fleet of UFOs, 25 to 30
you
UFOs.
You want to see real
UFOs?
Left. You won't see them at Area 51. Go to Dulce. Go
there
to
actually
Wright-Patterson.
have been some pretty interesting UFO videos that have been filmed in the 90s. They're not. I haven't seen
not
any
now.
I don't
now
trust the UFO
for the fan base.
I don't trust the
You
UFO.
want to see a UFO video that will boggle your brain?
You go to Wright-Patterson.
Look up Guadalajara. Look up. I think it was 1994, Guadalajara, Mexico. Just look that up. There's literally, and it's it's in the middle of the day, and it's a pretty clear shot of about, looks like maybe 50 to 100 UFOs. A massive fleet, literally all across the sky. One of the craziest videos you'll ever see. And it's like, that's the type of shit. And it was witnessed by hundreds of people. You know what I'm saying? Mexico in 1991, the solar eclipse was filmed by 5,000 plus people. Okay? There was a UFO filmed by 5,000 plus people. You can find 17 videos online. 17 separate videos online can be found of the 1991 Mexico solar eclipse UFO.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
That's mind-boggling, dude. That's mind-boggling. All right, let me run through my last page here. This is where my best notes were. Today's episode is brought to you by Janet Airlines. You can't fly. All right. Janet Airlines, by the way, is the airlines that, and like we gotta be careful with some of the UFO shit we talk about, because through all of my years of looking into shit, I have found people that talk about too much in-depth shit when it comes to UFOs,
So let's get into
and wind up dead.
Deep underground
Literally do wind
military
up dead.
bases. There's aliens on the 13th level under Dulce.
Look up Area 51 movie. The Area 51 movie. Did you get the chance
I
to
did
watch
watch
that?
that.
Doesn't that screw
That
your
was
mind up a little
crazy.
bit? That's a pretty good movie. I don't think
That
it would be
ending,
that
I
easy
wasn't
to get in.
expecting that ending.
If you could get in, I think it would be a lot like that, but I don't think it would be that easy to get in. I don't think you'd be able to just stop those motion or the ground sensors or whatever.
But that ending, I wasn't prepared for
So
that.
are UFOs interdimensional or extraterrestrial? My thought is, I think they could be interdimensional.
They can be both.
I think both.
I think they could be a whole number of things. They could be from Hollow Earth, so they could be literally inside. Hold on, underground submersibles. If you look into underground submersible
Deep
objects,
underground bases,
Listen.
deep
Oh my
undersea
God, dude.
bases.
Listen.
Look that up.
If you know anything about
Underwater UFOs,
the reason why I laugh about Hollow Earth theory and flat Earth theory and all that stuff, because
please don't put them in the same category.
because
We've only drilled down 8 miles.
The
into
Earth
this
is flat and there's a dome over it. Okay,
We've only drilled down 8 miles into this Earth, and it could go down. I believe it's like 700 or 800 miles. Or something.
the
So
big is
we haven't scratched the surface.
The deepest depth that we ever dug was like, I think it was like an eighth away to the mantle. So it's a couple
eighth way into the
mantle.
Yeah.
No, not an eighth way into the mantle. We were into it, but we were eighth way into the crust, leading to the mantle.
Yeah.
But they said that when you get to those depths, it kind of becomes like plastic.
See, but you know
it's
what
not rock
understands
anymore.
me?
It starts to become plastic.
But you know what boggles my mind is how can we be sure that they are so sure that that's what it is, when so many other scientific fields are so sure that they know what it is, and then there comes along some massive breakthrough, and it's like, wow,
the Earth is not hollow
all along. The Earth is not flat.
It's not hollow either.
The Earth could be some form of hollow. What if this is not even an actual planet, as we like to think of it as a planet?
It's a planet.
Hold on, but what if it's not? How can we understand all of this shit? How can we tout ourselves and pat ourselves on the back that we understand how all of it works
Because it's a
when
planet.
we haven't even explored past fucking Mars, or we haven't even really gotten out of our solar system?
Listen, it's a planet. It's not hollow.
I think these are our best guesses.
Look up
right?
NASA fakes images and videos.
I'm not talking about NASA faking images. We all know that.
I don't know, dude.
The
I don't
NASA
know.
landing was real. Look, listen, God.
See, I'm not going to sit here and say it definitely is. Definitely not. But I hate when people say, no, my dad's a geologist, trust me. And it's like...
But listen.
That's being so closed-minded.
No, it's not about being
possibilities.
closed-minded, but think about it like this, right? What is the basic shape?
You don't think there's an inverse universe?
What is the basic shape of nature? When something has too much mass, what happens? It clumps together. When it comes together, it forms what? A sphere, a ball. So if that's the case,
but what about
the Earth?
Entropy.
The Earth.
But what about entropy?
Has a
Wouldn't
core.
It want to pull itself apart as well?
No, because of the gravitational forces,
But
yes,
then
but we
all
also put each
planets
other
would do
together.
that, you know?
Yeah, but so if the Earth was hollow, then it would collapse in on itself.
It would, but if the Earth is a manufactured thing. Not. Have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Trust me, I know.
We're talking
it's
about
silly.
movies,
Trust me, I
though.
know
It's a
silly.
movie.
But that's where they manufacture planets, and we come to find out that Earth is actually manufactured and was just a built planet put here, and we're actually just kind of a reality.
Wasn't it an
TV
old
show.
South Park episode?
Yeah, the reality
where
TV show.
reality
Earth,
TV.
where we put deer together with rabbits. Can you believe this?
I'm totally not buying
That got
Hollow
scary
Earth
because
theory.
Earth was almost canceled. That huge intergalactic wrecking ball.
The only
that'd be
thing
scary
about
to see.
aliens that's really intriguing to me, it was footage that NASA actually had of the sun. They were filming the sun. They constantly have video.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They constantly have video of the sun. They're monitoring it because of solar storms, things like that.
About.
There was
a planet-sized object that's.
It was bigger than a fucking planet.
Yeah, it was like 10 times the size of Earth.
Yeah, it was
100 times the size of Earth or something.
It was a couple. I think it was a couple hundred times the size of Jupiter. It was. Let's just say
massive.
this. It was fucking huge.
Yep.
Whatever was
And
up there was huge, and it looked like.
sun.
Usually plasma that comes off of the sun, it just shoots out.
See, we try and understand.
Hold on.
We might be wrong.
Around that, there was this black mass that it was completely. It was completely black, devoid of light ball,
Yep.
and at the base of the ball, it looked like it was a humongous, 100 times the Earth-size world vortex flowing into the ball. And then the ball detached itself and flew off. Yep. That was captured by NASA, and they had trouble explaining it. There was some speculation that it could be electromagnetic fields creating this ball type thing, and they're shooting off.
Obviously, something.
But that's the only thing that kind of like gets me like, that's kind of creepy. Like, I mean, not creepy, but that's like something that's pretty fucking weird.
If you really look into it, and trust me, you really got to you got to wade through some shit. But there's some good ones out there. There's some good documentaries out there about NASA's attempt to hide their literally capturing of UFOs like over the years, like over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Well, like the space debris that's up there.
Not
it's space debris.
No, they've literally no. They've had astronauts, and this is why it's funny.
Yeah, that are out there.
No, the astronauts.
They see the spinning thing.
No, the astronauts that have actually said there's something out here with us,
like Buzz Aldrin.
There's something out here, and they're not
the audio that was never supposed to make it to the public.
That Buzz Aldrin said that he was like, "Yo, there's something out here. There's something flying around."
That's what I'm saying.
I understand all that, man, but sometimes I think those people are doing that for attention.
You know what I find funny though is the same people, and look at us. We're kind of doing the same thing here, and not really, but people who are willing to accept that there more than likely is UFOs here. To what extent and how bad their presence is, or how big their presence is, who knows? But there are people who are more than willing to accept that there are UFOs here, but then they're not willing to accept that, or they're willing to take NASA for its word at every single thing. And every time there's any kind of like speculation that, well, maybe they actually filmed a UFO there, maybe they picked up something kind of weird, like no, that NASA's right. That's right.
Well, here's something that
but like, how can you have those two conflicting things that UFOs exist, but NASA is telling us the full truth?
Here's something that NASA did come out with recently, and this was about
cognitive dissonance.
About I don't know, maybe 4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It was right around the time we started to work. Mm-hmm. So it was about almost a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little
over a month ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So NASA, and I know you're not a fan of Michio Kaku, but before you say anything,
Nick has that look on his face.
Before you say anything about Michio, he came out and there is a star. I think it's Cygnus. It's one of the Cygnus stars.
Okay.
And the light pattern is very sporadic and is acting very weird. And scientists, the NASA scientists and other scientists are now saying that it could be a Dyson sphere.
Yeah, we talked about that. Weren't you here?
Yeah.
I talked about
it could be a Dyson sphere. So they're not totally ruling out that the fact that there ain't UFOs, but what they're saying is they need that tangible proof. Just so like that Dyson sphere could be extraterrestrial.
Here's my question: what about the Mars rovers that they spent millions of dollars on, maybe even billions of dollars on, that disappeared? What about the Mars landers
offline?
Yeah, exactly. Somehow just magically got put offline, and there's still been no real explanation.
They just shut off, man.
Are you sure they just shut off?
Yeah.
Why?
Or they shut off and then...
Hold on, but our billion-dollar attempts at equipment... I can understand Elon Musk and SpaceX trying to land a rocket on the middle of a barge in the middle of the ocean. Okay? I can understand trying to land a rocket after it's already done its flight, standing up on a thing. And I can understand that being a little difficult and having troubles with that. But when you're NASA and you're spending billions of dollars on shit... Really? It just cut out. It just cuts out.
Yeah, it just
It
died,
seems.
man.
But it seems like that.
It was a malfunction.
Are we sending Daewoo's up there? Or are we sending Cadillacs? What are we sending? Are we sending the best of American ingenuity? I'm pretty sure we are. I don't think it just cut off. But that's kind of the explanation. That's kind of what we just have to live with. But it's like they refuse to acknowledge that. Like, what about the pictures? And I know these pictures can be construed as just
please
people.
don't talk about the Mars pictures, man.
There's pictures of literally what look like people standing
They're
on
rocks, bro. They're rocks.
Reptilian shapeshifters.
And then also, hold on.
You know what? They found a turtle on fucking Mars too, man. It was a fucking rock.
Hold on. This is where you can find some actually good shit. Where I said you got to wade through some shit because there is a lot of shit and way too much speculation. But if you look into some of these documentaries about moon pictures and Mars pictures that have been put into the public domain by NASA, being edited.
They edit them for reasons, though. They edit them. They don't edit them to take out UFOs. They edit them because sometimes it's blurry or it's just something's fucked up with the picture itself. They're not going to edit it because there's a UFO. If anything, they find a UFO, they're going to be like, "Holy shit, there's a UFO," and they're going to put it out there. I believe that they'll do that. They'll go through a bunch of things. They're not going to just edit it out, man. Come on, man.
They will edit it out because NASA's job is not for disclosure.
No, man.
But see, that's what a lot of people don't understand. NASA will not oversee the disclosure of, oh my God, there's alien life. Not for the United States.
So the rest of the world put out its what was it? They put out all their UFO information.
Most of the rest of the world. Yeah.
Most of the rest of the world. And what happened?
You know what that leads me to believe?
Nothing.
You know what my thought on that is that the reason the United States will not release all their stuff is because the United States is behind 95%. Whether they're involved with aliens, which a lot of people speculate that they are, and that they've been involved with aliens for the past 50, 60, 70 years.
It's the reptilian shapeshifters!
There's a lot of different theories out there, but I don't even know what I was going to say. You fucked me up, David. Reptilian shapeshifters.
It's always the reptilian shapeshifters.
David,
but hold on, no, I'm not talking about reptilian shapeshifters, but that's like UFOs that you can't even, you can't deny that there's something there unexplainable is the shape-shifting UFOs. Have you ever seen the videos of the shape-shifting UFOs where they literally... And I've seen videos of shape-shifting UFOs where it can be argued that it's balloons. It's a thing of balloons that are floating up in the sky.
Yeah, I seen that one.
I saw one.
Go ahead.
Seen that.
I saw one back, I think it was in the 80s or 90s, where it shape-shifted from a spaceship into a giant maid with a vacuum cleaner that looked like the Statue of Liberty. And they began sucking all the air out of the atmosphere of this planet.
What the fuck
What the fuck are you talking about?
Spaceballs.
Ah, that's right, Spaceballs is the shit.
That's way too, yeah, it's an old reference, my friend. I haven't watched Spaceballs in probably 15 years now.
That's an awesome movie, man.
It is an awesome movie. I have it, and I'm ashamed. Alright, Alright, look, this guy, Dr. Roger Lear, has removed alien implants.
I gotta go.
Alien implants. Alien implants, Rich. There's actual been alien implants.
No!
The Borg are real!
Where metallurgists, who study metal and find out what elements are in a metal.
Listen, people, when you walk around...
Otherworldly.
Okay.
Not of this world.
When you walk around, when you breathe, when you eat... Things go into your body on a daily basis that you don't even know of. Sometimes those things can end up underneath, coagulating, ending up underneath your skin, and it can be in your gut. And it can be 1 minute it could be in your gut, the next minute it could be in your abs, and then it can travel this way and find its way into your hand.
So this guy who's a doctor, who's a surgeon, do you think that this guy who's coming out and saying that these are not normal objects, these are not everyday normal objects that he's used to finding in people, that these are somewhat alien? He's not saying alien entities or alien species.
All right,
these are alien to this planet.
What does it look like?
Objects that are in these people.
What do these objects look like?
They're little black, almost look like rocks, but they're not.
Little black rocks.
They're when they do test and analysis on them, they're not made of anything that comes from this planet.
Little bits of iron.
Yes. Almost like chips, and they're almost indestructible.
Little iron chips that we find.
You gotta look into Dr. Roger Lear.
Did you know that?
It'll mess your
Did you know
head
that the human body is it has a lot of iron in it, and if somebody it has an iron, too much iron in their system, it could coagulate and make little iron pellets.
But I would think
that's what I'm talking about.
But this doctor wouldn't come out if he sent these things out for analysis. Do you think they would come back and say, "Oh, they're iron"? You know what? I'm going to come out and say that they're alien implants.
But no, listen. If you,
I don't think so. Maybe
put yourself in the mind of somebody like that.
As some of the other people.
But put yourself in their mind.
I don't believe it.
Put yourself in a state of mind. Ooh, I found something in somebody's arm. I can say it's aliens, and then now what? You know his name.
No, but he's not saying. That's what I'm saying. Is if you look into this doctor's not saying it's aliens that are implanting this in people. No, he's saying I've found things that. Through my analysis and the analysis of chemical laboratories, they say that these things that I've found in people's bodies are not of this world. That's what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's saying, oh, well, aliens have come and put these in people. Who knows how these people got this in there? Maybe the people were born with those things in them. Maybe it was something that the medical field has yet to understand, how these little things that we don't even know what they're really made of yet can form in people's bodies.
Okay, I mean,
maybe.
All right, we'll
you know what I'm
it.
saying?
All right.
But there have been things found in people's bodies that do not seem like they are from this world. And a lot of people like to just throw that out with the bathwater, throw the baby out with the bathwater, and throw it all out as nonsense. But there's actual, same with all of our other topics that we're touching on this year, right? We have to literally objectively observe these topics and not just discredit everything because it just sounds like nonsense. Because a lot of it can sound like nonsense, but if you really do your research on a lot of these topics, and like me and Brian have on a lot of conspiracies, and it's like you can't say that all of these conspiracies are just nonsense.
I gotta go.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we are going to do a part 2. We're going to do a UFOs and ghosts. Now, we're doing a ghost scientific theory. We'll come back to UFOs in about 5 or 6 episodes. But I think after next week, after our weed legalization a good thing show next week, I think we should come back and do maybe a UFO.
We should.
What do you call it?
Somewhere in there, we still need to throw in.
This episode's airing on
America's
420, so get stoned and listen to this, people. Huh?
We still need to throw in the next.
All right, so we're going to do scheduling right now, real quick. All right, next week is weed. Is weed legalization a good thing? Episode 48. Is weed legalization a good thing? That's pretty sweet. Badoosh! Isn't that fucked up? I'm one of those dicks who just messes people's hoops up and makes people's smoke rings. All right, look, ready? The following week, episode 49, okay, is going to be ghosts, scientific theory, or complete and total hysteria, or complete and total nonsense, whatever. Okay?
Bullshit.
Number 50, because it's kind of a landmark episode, and this could be bullshit. This is something we really need to analyze objectively, all 3 of us, okay? And we got a few weeks to do it. But is the United States a corporation? And we are going to bring...
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
We are going to bring sources of legal documents
ladies and
that people have used to say that the United States is not a country whatsoever and is a corporation.
It's a business.
Is fully a corporation and is owned by the UN, correct?
Most definitely.
By the World Bank.
Or we're controlled by, basically our taxes are paid to the UN.
Basically, a quick backstory on that. It started with an article Nick found back in the beginning of the infancy of 3NN.
Yes.
Was, what was it? The U.S. is a British colony, I think is what it was.
Yeah,
and we looked into that and learned, no, it's not. It's actually a corporation.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And if you're interested in looking into that, look into Corporation Nation. It's a great documentary, and it'll give you, probably in about 2 hours, it'll give you a real concise idea of the United States not being a country but being a corporation with corporate interests and business deeds involved. And
legally on paper, we are the United States corporation.
Yeah, and when we vote somebody in, that's just the face of the corporation. He's not really doing anything or affecting any policy. That's the board members that do that. All right,
Corporation Nation, for the record, is 3 hours and 13 minutes long.
And that's 3 hours and 13 minutes of your life if you're an American.
So set aside time to watch that, people. That's a good one. It really is.
All right, kids, it's been a wonderful show. All right, check us out next week. Today's episode was brought to you by Janet Airlines, but also we got to give a shout-out to our number one sponsor, Skynet. Skynet taking over the world one robot at a time, okay? And in conjunction with kittens. I got a wonderful new kitten today, and I like kittens, so yeah.
Hi, kitten.
Hi, kitten.
Yeah, I wish I had a different kind of thing to say about kittens, but...
Oh, she's adorable.
Oh, kittens. You're asleep? I don't care. Feed me.
Yeah, right.
That sucks. All right. Anyway, kids, it's been a wonderful show. We will see everybody. Hey, happy 420 too.
420,
this will
baby.
be posted on 420.
Yes, happy Columbine Day, happy Hitler's birthday, all that stuff.
Isn't it Bob Marley's birthday?
Is it?
I think it's the day Jerry Garcia died. One or the other. Opposite.
Wait,
order.
huh?
Anyway, it's National Earth Green Day, some shit like that. Everybody have a great 420. Don't get too high. Don't forget about your responsibilities. Don't forget to pick up your kids at school.
And do your laundry.
Don't forget to pick up your kids at school.
Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see you next week. It's been a wonderful show. Rich? Yeah. YouTube.com/where we lied to. We're going to start being on YouTube.com/3NM podcast again.
Okay.
Pretty easy, right? Facebook.com/3NM podcast. Find me, Nick Tesla, on Facebook.
I just want to say real quick, Bob Marley was born on February 6th of 1945 and died May 11th, 1981 at 36 years of age.
So that's just total bullshit. Maybe it was Jerry Garcia. All right. It's been a wonderful week. You can find Rich Galaz on Facebook. You can find, or hashtag The Mind of Rich. Find all his stuff. And Brian.
Facebook and Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter, Brian McFadden. You know where he's at. Holla, 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 holla. Do you guys listen to the new the thing with Alf?
No.
Hey Willie, come take a listen to this. Or come take a look at this. No? And then the end.
No.
You're gonna
get hit in the ball.
Let me know when this gets irritating, okay?
Now! It's irritating almost at once.